find somewhere comfortable. You don't need to sit up straight or hold any particular position. Just settle into wherever you are, your bed, your couch, the dark of your room, and let your body go a little heavy against whatever is holding you. You don't need to concentrate tonight. You don't need to absorb any of this or remember it in the morning. The words will just arrive, and you can let them drift past like water moving slowly over stones. We're in no hurry. The night is long and quiet, and there is nowhere else either of us needs to be. If today was hard, and for many people it was, in ways that are difficult to name, then I want you to know that you're allowed to just rest here for a while. You don't have to fix anything tonight. You don't have to understand anything or improve anything or prepare for tomorrow. You can just be here in the soft dark and let someone sit with you for a little while. That's all this is, someone sitting with you. And if part of what made today hard was a feeling of being somehow apart from things, apart from other people, apart from warmth, apart from the sense that you truly belong somewhere, then this is for you especially. We're going to spend some time tonight with that feeling, not to dismantle it or argue it away, but to understand it, to see it clearly, the way you might hold something up to gentle light just to see what it actually is. Because loneliness deserves that kind of attention. Quiet, unhurried, compassionate attention. So settle a little more. Let your shoulders drop. And whenever you're ready, we can begin. There is a word that most of us have felt and very few of us talk about openly. We talk around it. We say we've been a bit distant lately, or that things have felt hollow, or that we've just been in our heads. We make excuses for cancelled plans and quiet phones. We scroll through other people's lives at midnight and feel something we can't quite name, something that sits in the chest like a stone that has been there so long, we've almost stopped noticing the weight of it. The word is loneliness. And it is one of the most common human experiences there is, which is one of the great quiet ironies of being alive. More than half of all Americans, when asked directly, say they feel lonely. Globally, somewhere close to 1 in 4 people describes experiencing loneliness on a regular basis. That means right now, at this hour, in houses and apartments and rooms across every time zone, there are millions of people lying in the dark with that same stone in their chest, convinced that somehow they are the only one. That is loneliness, doing what loneliness does. It folds you inward. It makes the world seem full of connection that is happening just out of reach, just for other people, just not quite for you. But here is something worth knowing, even if you only half hear it as you drift. That feeling is not a flaw. It is not evidence of something broken inside you. It is, in the most literal and biological sense, a signal, an ancient one. 1. Your body has been sending for as long as human beings have existed. We'll come to that slowly. For now, just know that whatever you're carrying tonight, it has a name and it has a reason, and you are not strange for feeling it. Loneliness is one of those words we think we understand until someone asks us to define it precisely, and then it becomes surprisingly slippery. It is not the same as being alone. That distinction matters more than it might seem. You can be alone, genuinely, peacefully alone, and feel no loneliness at all. A person reading quietly in an empty house on a Sunday afternoon, a hiker moving through a vast and patient landscape, a writer at a desk in the early morning before the world has woken. These people are alone, but they may feel entirely whole. And then there is the other side of it. You can be surrounded by people. At a party, in a family, in a crowded office, in a long marriage, and feel profoundly, achingly lonely. That particular loneliness, the kind that lives inside a crowd, is in some ways the most disorienting kind, because it carries an extra layer of confusion. If I'm surrounded by people, why do I feel like this? What is wrong with me? Nothing is wrong with you. What loneliness actually is, when you trace it carefully, is a gap. A perceived gap between the connection you have and the connection you need. Not the number of people in your life, but the quality and depth of what you feel with them. Whether you feel truly seen, whether you feel that someone, somewhere, genuinely knows you and holds that knowledge with care. That is what researchers who study this carefully have come to understand. The neuroscientist John Cacioppo, who spent decades studying loneliness with quiet dedication, described it as something closer to a subjective feeling of social pain. Not a circumstance, but a perception. Not about how many people are around you, but about whether the connection you have matches the connection your deeper self is reaching for. And that reaching is real. It is not neediness or weakness. It is woven into the architecture of what we are. Human beings are, in the most fundamental sense, social creatures. Not in the shallow sense that we like parties or enjoy conversation, but in the deep evolutionary sense that we survived by staying together. For hundreds of thousands of years, being alone meant being in danger. Being cut off from the group meant exposure, starvation, vulnerability to everything the world could throw at a single unprotected body. The bonds between people were not just comforting. They were survival itself. Your nervous system still knows this. That knowledge is ancient and patient, and it lives in you at a level far below conscious thought. There is something interesting in how the language around loneliness has shifted across time. Before the 18th century, the English word for being alone was simply loneliness, and it carried none of the anguish we now associate with it. Being alone was often considered something noble, even spiritual, a retreat from the noise of the world into contemplation. The Romantic poets wrote about solitude with something close to reverence. Wordsworth wandered lonely as a cloud, and that loneliness was a kind of communion with something vast and beautiful, not an affliction. What changed, gradually and then quite rapidly, was the world around people. Cities grew. Factories pulled people away from the villages and communities where their families had lived for generations. The tight webs of belonging that had always held people, the shared work, the common land, the neighbors who had known your grandparents. People found themselves living in close physical proximity to strangers, with none of the deep familiarity that makes proximity feel like warmth. That is when the word loneliness began to carry its particular weight, when the gap opened up between the number of people nearby and the depth of connection available. And in many ways, that gap has only widened since. So if you feel it, if you have felt it for some time, you are not experiencing a personal failure. You are experiencing something that the shape of modern life makes almost inevitable for many people at many points in their lives. The feeling is real, and it matters, and it deserves to be taken seriously. Which is exactly what we're going to do tonight. Here is something that might shift the way you hold this feeling. Loneliness is not just an emotion. It is a whole body experience. And when you understand what it actually does inside you, in your brain, in your blood, in the quiet hum of your nervous system, something softens a little. Because it becomes clear that what you've been feeling is not imaginary, and it is not weakness. It is physiology. It is your body responding to a real and ancient signal in the only way it knows how. Think of loneliness as an alarm, not a harsh clanging alarm, but a low and persistent one. the kind that runs quietly in the background, just loud enough to keep part of you on edge. When that alarm is running, your body shifts into a state of subtle vigilance. It begins scanning for threat. It holds itself a little more carefully, a little more braced. This is the work of a small, almond-shaped structure deep in the brain called the amygdala. It is sometimes called the brain's threat detector, and in lonely people, research consistently shows that it becomes more reactive, more sensitive to the possibility of danger in social situations. A neutral expression on someone's face, just a blank, ordinary look, can register to a lonely person's brain as something faintly hostile. A casual comment can carry more sting than was ever intended. This is not paranoia. It is the alarm doing its job as it was designed to do. When the ancient brain senses that you are disconnected from the group, it raises your sensitivity to social threat, because in the world it evolved for, a threat to your social bonds was a threat to your life. It wants you to notice. It wants you to feel the gap so acutely that you'll do something about it. The trouble is that in the modern world, this response often makes connection harder rather than easier. When you're already lonely, the heightened vigilance can make you more guarded, more likely to interpret ambiguous signals as rejection, more inclined to withdraw a little further rather than reach out. The alarm meant to draw you back toward connection can, over time, make connection feel more precarious. There is a gentleness in understanding this. The defensiveness you might feel, the tendency to pull back, the slight bracing when someone gets close. That is not a character flaw. That is a nervous system doing its ancient job in a world it was never designed for. And the body doesn't stop at the brain. Loneliness runs deeper than thought and deeper than feeling. It reaches into the bloodstream. It influences the quiet cellular processes that most of us never think about. When the brain is running that low background alarm of social disconnection, it signals the body to produce more cortisol, the hormone associated with stress. A little cortisol is useful and necessary, but when it runs at elevated levels for a long time, it becomes a kind of slow friction on the body's systems. Researchers have found that chronic loneliness is associated with increased inflammation throughout the body. A kind of silent, systemic inflammation that hums along without obvious symptoms, but gradually affects the heart, the blood vessels, the immune system. The numbers, when you look at them, are worth pausing over. Loneliness is associated with a 29% increased risk of coronary heart disease and a 32% increased risk of stroke. The former US Surgeon General, Vivek Murthy, issued a formal advisory in 2023 describing loneliness as a public health concern of significant scale. 15 cigarettes a day. Not from what you're inhaling, but from the slow physiological cost of feeling alone. The hippocampus, the part of the brain most closely involved in memory and learning, is also affected. Elevated cortisol over time can inflame and damage neurons in this region, making memory less reliable and potentially accelerating cognitive decline in later life. None of this is meant to frighten you. You are here tonight, resting. And the very fact that you are resting, that you are allowing yourself this quiet, is already something. The body knows how to recover. We'll come to that. But it matters to understand what loneliness actually is, physically, because it explains so much about how it feels. The exhaustion, the heaviness. The way a day touched by loneliness can feel so much longer and more depleting than a day that wasn't. That is not self-pity. That is biology. Your body is working harder than it should have to, and it is tired. And then there is sleep. If you have noticed that your sleep feels different when loneliness is present, more restless, more fragmented, harder to sink into, you are noticing something real. Researchers at New York University and Duke University studied nearly 10,000 adults and found significant links between loneliness and difficulty. Falling asleep, staying asleep, waking too early, and feeling unrestored in the morning even after a full night. The mechanism seems to come back to that same quiet vigilance. The brain that is running a background alert for social threat does not fully stand down at night. It keeps a portion of itself watchful, what researchers sometimes describe as sleeping with one eye open, not deeply unconscious and safe, but hovering in a lighter register, more easily disturbed, less able to descend into the slow, restorative depths of sleep where the real repair happens. So, if you are lying here tonight and sleep feels just out of reach, held at a slight distance by something you can't quite name, it may not be your thoughts that are the problem. It may be something much older than thought. A nervous system that hasn't yet been given permission to stand down. We're working on that now. Slowly. There is a study from the University of Southern California, published in 2023, that found something quietly remarkable about loneliness. When researchers measured brain activity in people as they watched the same videos, the non-lonely people showed remarkably similar responses to each other. Their brains, in a sense, were tracking the same things, responding to the same moments, moving through the experience together. The lonely people were different. Each of them showed a response that was distinct, individualized, unlike the others and unlike each other. Their brains were processing the same world but arriving at different places. The researchers described it as each lonely person experiencing the world in their own idiosyncratic way. Not wrong exactly, not impaired, but singular, separate. As though the channel everyone else is sharing is just slightly out of reach and you are receiving your own quiet, private signal instead. When I first read about this, something about it felt deeply human. Because that is what loneliness feels like, isn't it? Not that the world is absent, but that you are watching it through glass. Present, but not quite part of it. Close, but not quite connected. The laughter in the next room that you can hear but somehow can't join. The conversation that flows easily between everyone else while you search for the right way in. That sense of watching from a slight remove is not imagination. It is, in some measurable way, what is actually happening in the brain. The neural pathways associated with social reward, the warm, easy pleasure of feeling genuinely connected, become quieter in people who are chronically lonely. A part of the brain called the ventral striatum, which normally lights up with something like delight when we encounter a new person or a warm social moment, shows reduced activity. The social world becomes less immediately rewarding, which makes reaching toward it feel like more effort than it once did. This is one of the cruelest aspects of loneliness. It tends to make itself harder to escape. Not because anything is fundamentally broken, but because the systems that usually draw you toward connection become a little muted, a little slow, or the systems that scan for threat become a little louder. The very thing you need feels harder to reach. The very thing that would help feels less appealing than it should. And there is something else worth sitting with gently. Loneliness is not evenly distributed in the ways most people assume. We tend to picture loneliness as something that lives mainly in old age, in the elderly person in a quiet house, cut off from a world that has moved on without them, and that loneliness is real and it matters enormously. But the research tells a different story about where loneliness is most concentrated. Young adults between 18 and 34 report the highest rates of loneliness of any age group. In some surveys, more than 40% of people in that age range describe feeling lonely. Among people under 18, some studies suggest the figure is even higher. This is not what most people expect. But in a way, it makes sense. Young adulthood is often a time of significant transition. Leaving home, moving to new places, building a life from scratch without the ready-made community of school or family. It is a time when the gap between the connection you imagined adulthood would hold and the connection you actually have can feel very wide indeed. And it is a time when loneliness is perhaps least spoken about, because youth is supposed to be vibrant and social and full of easy belonging. The shame of feeling lonely when you're young can compound the loneliness itself. If you are young and you are lying here tonight feeling this, please know that you are not an anomaly. You are not failing at something that everyone else finds effortless. You are in the middle of something that vast numbers of people your age are quietly navigating, without saying so, often while projecting something quite different to the world. And if you are older and loneliness has arrived in a different form, through loss or change or the slow attrition of years, that too is known. That too is understood. Loneliness has a different texture at different points in a life, but its essential nature is the same, a gap between the warmth you need and the warmth you have. And that gap deserves the same compassion at 70 as it does at 25. Whatever age you are, wherever you are in your life, the feeling is valid. The feeling is real. And the feeling is not permanent. Something shifts when you stop fighting a feeling and simply look at it. Not to wallow in it, not to feed it, but just to look at it with some degree of openness. To ask, what is this actually trying to tell me? What is it for? Loneliness, but all the weight it carries, is not a malfunction. It is a signal. One of the most ancient and purposeful signals the human body knows how to send. John Cacioppo, the neuroscientist who spent so much of his life studying this quietly, described loneliness as something analogous to hunger. Hunger is not pleasant. It is not meant to be. It is an uncomfortable sensation designed to motivate behavior, to make you seek food, to ensure you survive. Without hunger, you would forget to eat. You would waste away without ever quite understanding why. Loneliness is the hunger of social connection. It is the body's way of saying, you need more of this. Not as a punishment, not as a verdict on your worth, but as a signal. A gentle, persistent, sometimes aching signal that something important is missing and that it is worth going to find it. The pain is purposeful. That doesn't make it easier to bear, but it does change its meaning. The loneliness you feel is not the universe telling you that you are unlovable or that connection is not available to you. It is your own body, in its ancient and unhurried wisdom, telling you that you matter to yourself. That belonging matters, that warmth matters, that you are, at your core, a creature made for connection, and that part of you is still reaching for it. There is something quietly beautiful in that, if you can hold it gently enough. The research that has emerged in recent years adds something important to this picture. A study from Penn State University, published in 2024, found that even day-to-day fluctuations in loneliness, not just chronic, long-term loneliness, but the ordinary daily ebb and flow of feeling more or less connected, had measurable effects on how people felt physically. On days when people felt lonelier, they were more likely to experience fatigue, headaches, a general sense of being unwell. The body registers even small shifts in the social temperature of a day. What this suggests, among other things, is that connection does not have to be grand or transformative to matter. A brief conversation that felt real, a moment of genuine recognition from someone you encounter, a text that arrived at the right time. These small things register in the body in ways that are measurable and meaningful, the gap can be narrowed by small warmths as well as large ones. This is worth holding onto on nights when the larger forms of connection feel far away. Because loneliness is not binary. It is not something you either have or don't have, something you are either trapped in or free from. It is a spectrum, and it moves. And every small, genuine moment of warmth moves you along it. There is also something important in the word perceived. The fact that loneliness is about perceived connection, not objective connection. Because it means that the inner relationship you have with yourself is part of the equation, the quality of the voice inside you. Whether it speaks to you with kindness or with criticism, whether it holds you with patience or with judgment, shapes how connected or disconnected you feel in the world. People who treat themselves with something like the gentleness they would offer a good friend tend to feel less profoundly lonely, even in objectively difficult circumstances, not because the circumstances change, but because there is already some warmth present in the inner world, a kind of company within. This is not a small thing. It is, in fact, one of the most powerful things we can cultivate. Not as a replacement for human connection. Nothing replaces that, and the longing for it is real and should be honored, but as a companion to it. A foundation, and it is something that can be practiced. Quietly, slowly, without pressure. In the dark, in the stillness, in moments exactly like this one. The neural changes that loneliness brings about. The heightened vigilance, the quieter reward response, the fragmented sleep. These are not fixed. Research into neuroplasticity suggests that the brain remains capable of change throughout life. That the patterns loneliness creates are not permanent inscriptions but tendencies, habits of neural activity that can, with the right conditions, soften and shift. The right conditions include rest. They include safety. They include the slow, patient cultivation of inner warmth. The kind of warmth that doesn't depend on someone else being in the room. That is what tonight is for. You have spent some time now just being with this feeling, letting it have a name and a shape and a reason, seeing it not as evidence of something wrong with you, but as a signal from something very old and very human inside you, doing its quiet work. And now, if you are still awake, if the words are still reaching you through the soft weight of tiredness, we are going to move into something a little different, something slower, something that asks nothing of your thinking mind at all. A guided meditation. Designed for exactly this, for the tired body that has been carrying too much, for the nervous system that has been running its quiet alert for too long, for the part of you that simply needs to be held in some warmth for a little while before sleep comes. You don't need to do anything to prepare. You are already exactly where you need to be. Part 2 begins now. Nocturnal mind, guided sleep, meditation. Part 2, coming home to yourself. You are still here. You, and that is enough. Whatever you felt as you listened earlier, whatever stirred in you, whatever quiet ache moved through your chest, you do not have to carry it any further tonight. You have already done the harder part. You showed up. You stayed. And now, gently, it is time to let everything else go. So wherever you are lying right now, let yourself arrive a little more fully into this moment. Feel the surface beneath you, the bed, the pillow, the weight of the blanket if you have one. All of that is here for you. All of that is holding you without asking anything in return. Let your eyes close if they are not already. And just for a moment, feel the simple fact of your own presence. You are here. Breathing. Alive. Taking up exactly the space you are meant to take up in exactly this moment. That is not a small thing. Let the day begin to loosen its grip now. Not all at once, just a little, like a hand slowly opening. Like a breath you have been holding for hours, finally beginning to release. You do not need to solve anything tonight. You do not need to figure out the loneliness, or name it, or make it mean something. It has already been heard. And now the night is asking something different of you. The night is asking you to rest. So let yourself be a little heavier. Let your body sink just a little more into whatever is beneath you. Not trying, not doing, just allowing the ground to rise up and meet you, the way it always does, quietly and without fanfare. You are allowed to be held right now. You are allowed to stop. Notice the room around you, the temperature of the air, the softness of the dark behind your closed eyes. Maybe there are sounds nearby, the hum of something distant, the quiet of the house settling, the faint texture of the world still going on outside. All of that is fine. All of that can stay exactly where it is. You do not have to push anything away tonight. Not the sounds, not the feelings, not the thoughts that are still drifting through. You can simply let them exist a little further away from you, like cars passing on a road you are not standing on, like voices in a room down the hall, soft and indistinct, having nothing to do with you. You are here, in this warm, quiet place, resting. And slowly, gently, the world outside begins to matter a little less. Now let your attention find your breath. Not to change it, not to make it deeper or slower or more correct. Just to notice it. The way it comes in on its own, the way it leaves on its own. Your body already knows how to do this. It has been doing it your whole life, even when you were not paying attention, even when you were far away in worry or memory or longing. Your breath was there. It was always there. Feel it now. The soft rise of the chest or the belly, whichever you notice first. The gentle fall. The small pause at the bottom before the next breath begins, that little resting place between one breath and the next. You can stay in that pause for a moment. It is very peaceful there. Breathe in softly, without effort, just letting the air come, and breathe out slowly, letting it go all the way, not pushing, just releasing. And again, a little slower now if it feels natural, a little more at ease. With each breath out, imagine that you are setting something down, not a specific thing, just weight. Just the accumulated heaviness of the day, of the week, of all the moments you spent wishing things were different or wondering why you feel the way you feel. With each exhale, a little of that weight leaves with the breath. You do not need to carry it to sleep with you. You can leave it here at the edge of the night and breathe in again gently. Fresh air, a little more space inside, and out slowly. Softer now. In and out. Let the breath find its own rhythm. You do not have to count. You do not have to control. Just notice the gentle tide of it moving through you, steady and quiet and completely your own. That is yours. That breath, No matter where you are, no matter who is or is not beside you, that breath is always, always with you. Let that be a comfort tonight, even a small one. And now, very slowly, let your awareness move to the very top of your head. The scalp, the skin there, let it soften. You may not have realized there was any tension there, but there often is. A subtle tightening, a kind of bracing we do without knowing. Let it go now. Let the scalp relax, spreading gently, releasing. Feel that softness move down to your forehead, the space between your eyebrows. This is a place that holds so much, thought and worry, and the effort of trying to understand. Let it smooth out now, like water settling after a stone has passed through it. Calm, still, easy. Your eyebrows, the muscles around your eyes. Let them go heavy. Let your eyelids rest completely, not pressed shut, just resting. There is nothing you need to see right now. The dark behind your eyes is gentle and safe. Your cheeks, the sides of your face, soften there. Let the skin feel warm and loose. Your nose, the soft movement of air in and out, noticing it without holding on to it. Your mouth. The hinged hand, you can let it go. Let the jaw be loose and heavy. Your tongue, often forgotten, let it rest softly on the floor of your mouth. Not pressed, just resting. Your throat, let it be open and easy. Swallow gently if you need to, and then let it soften. All of your face now, quiet and still, like a face in peaceful sleep, like someone who has been forgiven everything and is finally resting. That is what your face looks like right now. And now the back of your head, where it rests against the pillow. Feel the weight of it there, the pillow receiving it, holding it. You do not have to hold your own head up. You never have to do that when you are lying down, and yet somehow we forget. We keep a small grip. Let it go now. Let the pillow take the full weight of your head. There. That is better. Your neck. The back of the neck first. All those small muscles that support you through the day, that turn and tilt and carry. Let them be still now. Let them be warm. Let the tension drain out of them like water down through sand. Slow and easy and gone. The sides of the neck. The front. All of it softening. All of it releasing. Your shoulders. This is where loneliness often lives, you know. In the shoulders. In that slight pulling inward, that unconscious curling, as though you are protecting something tender in the chest. You can let the shoulders open now. Let them fall back, fall down, fall away from your ears. Let there be space across the top of your chest. There is room here. There is more room than you thought. Let the shoulders melt into the mattress, into the floor, into whatever is beneath you. Heavy and warm and utterly at rest. Down through your upper arms. The biceps, the triceps, all those working muscles going completely soft. You have done so much today. Your arms have reached and carried and gestured, and maybe, at some point, wished they had someone to hold. That is all right. That wish can be here too, without hurting you. It can rest here beside you, soft and quiet, like something waiting patiently without urgency. Your elbows, loose, heavy. Your forearms all the way down. The muscles there letting go one by one. Your wrists, the delicate bones there, resting. Your hands. Let your fingers uncurl. Let them lie open or gently closed, however they fall naturally. The palms, the fingertips. So much sensation lives in the hands. They are how we reach for others, how we make contact, how we feel the world. Let them rest now. Let them rest now. Let them be still and warm. Let them simply be. Your hands are enough, exactly as they are. You are enough, exactly as you are. Breathe in slowly, and breathe out all the way. Feel how much of your body has already softened. The top half of you heavy and warm and quiet. Sinking, resting, being held. Let that feeling be a kind of company. The weight of your own body, present and real and here. You are not absent from yourself. You are right here. And now let your awareness drift down to your chest. The chest, where the heart is, where feeling lives. You may notice something there. A tenderness, a lingering echo of whatever the word loneliness stirs in you. That is all right. You do not have to push it away. You do not have to make it mean something terrible about your life or your worth or your future. Loneliness is not a verdict. It is just a feeling. A very human feeling. One that every person who has ever lived has known in some form, in some quiet hour, in some moment of lying awake in the dark. You are not separate from humanity because you feel it. You are, in this moment, deeply, quietly connected to every person who has ever felt exactly this way. Every person who has ever pressed their hand to their own chest in the dark and felt that particular ache. They are all here with you somehow, in this strange, invisible way the feelings have of crossing time and space and all the distances between people. You are not alone in your loneliness. Let that land gently, if it can, and let the chest soften now. Let the breastbone drop. Let the ribcage be easy, expanding and releasing with each breath, open and unhurried. The heart still beating. Warm, steady, faithful. It has been with you every single moment of your life. It has never left you. It will not leave you tonight. Let the chest be soft and open and at peace. Down into the belly now. The belly, which holds so much, breath and digestion and the deep animal knowing of the body. Let it be completely soft. Let it rise and fall without any effort at all, loose and warm. So many of us hold the belly in, tighten it against the world. Not tonight. Tonight, let it go entirely. Let it be round and soft and free. There is something very restful about a completely soft belly, something that feels like trust. Trust the night. Trust the body. Trust that you are safe here. Your lower back, the curve of it resting against the mattress. Feel the warmth there. Let the muscles on either side of the spine release one by one like a long sigh spreading down through the back. Heavy, warm, done with holding. Your hips. The broad bones of the pelvis resting heavy. This is the center of the body, the place everything connects. Let it be still. Let it sink. Let the weight of your hips press gently into the surface beneath you and stay there grounded. Your tailbone. The very base of the spine. Resting. All the muscles of the lower body beginning to let go now. The small muscles of the hips and the deep muscles of the pelvis and the place where the legs meet the body, all of it softening, all of it releasing. Heavier now, warmer, more still. Down into your thighs, the large muscles there, so strong, so capable. They have carried you everywhere. Let them rest. Let them be heavy and loose, spreading gently against the mattress. The front of the thighs, the back, the inner thighs, all of it soft and warm and quiet. Your knees. Resting wherever they fall. Let them be exactly where they are. Your calves, the long muscles there running down the back of the lower leg. Let them go soft. Let the tension drain out of them and disappear into the mattress, into the floor, into the earth below. Gone. Easy. Your shins. Your ankles. The subtle bones there resting. And now your feet. The heels pressing gently into the mattress. The arches. The balls of the feet. The toes. All 10 of them letting go, spreading slightly, completely at ease. Your whole body now, from the crown of your head to the tips of your toes, is soft and warm and heavy and still. You are lying here in the dark, completely released. And the night is holding you. The bed is holding you. The quiet is holding you. You do not have to do anything at all. Let your breath continue on its own. Slow and even and soft. You barely have to be involved. The body breathes, the chest rises and falls, the belly moves gently. And you simply rest inside all of that like a passenger in a boat that is moving slowly, steadily across very still water. The water is dark and smooth. The night is clear. There are stars above you if you like, or clouds, soft and low and grey, if that feels more like rest. Whatever kind of sky feels safest to you right now, let that be the sky above you. You are drifting, slowly, without destination. Just moving gently on the water, rocked by the smallest of waves, going nowhere in particular, and finding that nowhere in particular is exactly where you needed to be. The air is the perfect temperature. Just cool enough to feel like night, just warm enough to feel like safety. There is a blanket over you, or the warmth of the air itself wrapping around you like something gentle and unhurried. There is no one asking anything of you here. There is no performance, no effort, no version of yourself you need to maintain. You can let all of those drop away into the water one by one, like stones falling slowly through clear, dark depths. The version that replays conversations, that counts absences, that measures love against some impossible standard. Let them go. They are not needed here. What remains is just you, the quiet, essential you. The one who breathes and rests and exists simply and completely in this moment. That one is enough. That one has always been enough. And as you drift on that still water, you begin to notice something. The ache that was in your chest, It is still there, perhaps, but it is softer now, like something that has been held for a long time and has finally been allowed to uncurl. Not gone, maybe. Not solved, but quieter, warmer, less sharp. Loneliness does not have to be a wall. It can be a door left slightly open. And through that door, on nights like this one, something can come in. Not a person, necessarily. Not a solution. But something like warmth. Something like the sense that you are known, even in your quiet, even in your aloneness. Known by the night, if nothing else. Known by the breath that keeps coming. Known by the body that keeps holding you, faithfully, without complaint. You are not invisible. You are here. And being here, right now, in this soft and heavy stillness, that is its own kind of belonging. Let your thoughts, if there are any left, begin to drift a little further away now. They are like birds settling into trees at dusk. One by one they find their places and grow still. You do not have to chase them. You do not have to land them anywhere. Just let them settle on their own, further and further from the center of your attention. You are not your thoughts tonight. You are just the quiet beneath them. The still water, the dark sky, the warmth of the blanket, the slow tide of the breath. That is all you are right now, and it is peaceful. The boat drifts on, and you notice the water beneath you has a sound, very soft, very low, a kind of sighing. The sound of deep water, unhurried, ancient, completely at ease with itself. It has been here long before your worries, and it will be here long after. It does not know urgency. It does not know loneliness. It just moves gently and endlessly in its own slow way. You can borrow some of that ease tonight. You can let the water lend you its patience, its depth, its willingness to simply be. Breathe in slowly and feel yourself sinking just a little more into that easy, drifting place. The stars, if you chose a clear sky, are very far away and very still. They do not need anything from you. They are just there, quietly burning, sending their ancient light across distances so vast that the numbers have no meaning. And yet that light reaches you. Here. Now. In this room, in this bed, in this body, everything is connected in ways too large and too quiet to explain. And you are part of all of it, not separate, not forgotten, not left out of the great slow turning of things, just here, resting. Part of the night. Let your body grow even heavier now, even warmer, even more still. There is a word for the feeling just before sleep. That lovely, loose, borderless place where thoughts become strange and soft and begin to lose their edges. Where the body feels as though it is made of something warm and dense and slow, where the difference between you and the mattress becomes a little less clear. You're moving toward that place right now. You can feel it maybe, the heaviness in your limbs, the way your thoughts, if there are any, have become a little less sharp, a little more like images than words. A little more like dreams beginning to form at the very edges of awareness. That is sleep coming to meet you. Let it. You do not have to reach for it. You do not have to make it happen. Sleep is not something you do. It is something you allow. And your only job right now is to keep letting go. Keep softening. Keep sinking. The water carries you. The night holds you. The breath moves on its own. And somewhere in the soft dark of this drifting place, you find something that has been waiting for you. It is not a person. It is not a memory. It is more like a feeling, a warmth at the center of the chest, steady and low, like a lamp in a window. The kind of warmth that does not ask to be seen or praised. It is just there. The warmth is yours. It has always been yours. It is the part of you that is never truly alone, because it is the part of you that is always present, always awake to your own existence, always accompanying you through every moment of your life. The quiet witness. The inner companion. You have never, not once, been without that. And tonight, in this soft and drifting space, you can feel it more clearly. The warmth, the presence, the simple, steady fact of being alive and here and resting. Let that be enough for tonight. Let it be more than enough. The thoughts are very quiet now. Just impressions, just colors, just the soft blur of images that don't quite hold their shape. Your body is deeply, completely relaxed. Every part of it, from the crown of your head to the soles of your feet, is warm and heavy and still. There is nothing left to release. There is nothing left to hold. Just rest. Just this. The boat drifts on the still water. The night wraps around you like something soft and patient. And the loneliness, that old ache, that quiet companion, it has softened too. It has found a place to rest beside you, not sharp anymore, not heavy anymore, just part of the night, just part of being human. Just a feeling, no more frightening than a cloud, no more permanent than a wave. It will pass. Everything passes. And what remains underneath everything is this. This warmth, this breath, this quiet. You breathing, drifting, warm. The sounds around you are very distant now. The world is very far away. There is only this soft place, this dark and gentle space between waking and sleep. And you are already most of the way there. Let the next breath out be a little longer, a little slower, and do not be in any hurry to breathe in again. Just rest in that pause, that small peaceful space. You are safe. You are held. And here is exactly where you need to be. The lamp in the chest burns low and steady, faithful. Yours. The water barely moves now. The night is very still. Your body is far away and soft and heavy and completely at rest. Let the thoughts go. Let the day go. Let the longing go just for tonight. Just for now. There is nothing to do, nothing to figure out, nothing to be. Just this breath. Blow. And this one. Whoa. Softer. Drifting now. Almost gone. Warm and heavy and held. Sleep is here. You'll let it come